love that music. So I'm Irene De Jesus.
And I'm Hector De Jesus.
And we are the De Jesus Law Group. And this is the Noon Show.
Because it's noon somewhere in the world.
Are you not capable of...
I like structure.
You like routine. He does. Routine. Can you tell we're married? Yeah. So this is the Noon Show, and disclaimer.
Somewhere in the world. And the disclaimer is we are attorneys. However, we're not necessarily your attorneys unless you make a phone call and hire us. But other than that, it's for informational and instructional purposes only.
Yes. So this is just for educational purposes. We're really glad that you're joining us today. You know, you can do a lot of things on Friday, but glad you're here with us. And so a couple things to talk about first. Oh, the best in the, what is it called? The best in the West? No, I don't think it's the best in the West. So there's some voting going on. When we'll have all of that in the chat box and the links. And I believe that it closes April the 30th. But apparently we're in the running for the best law firm. So if you wouldn't mind voting, that would be phenomenal. That'd be great. So Win will have all the details in there. And then we've got, next week is going to be busy. We've got
Wine and Wills on Monday, 6:30 to 8:30.
Yep, we're going to be doing Wine and Wills again. Total fun. That's awesome. Love doing that. Talking about really estate planning 101. What is a will? What's a trust? When do you need one or the other? And then topping it all off with wine. I mean, wine tasting. That'll be good. And then what have you got coming up on Wednesday?
We have a seminar with Page Insurance, who are going to be with us as our guest today. But we're doing a Will Your Plan Withstand 2021 and Beyond.
Ooh, that's going to be good.
Fun. Yeah, because we're going to be talking financial planning, insurance planning. And
so much has gone on in the last year, right?
Yep, we don't want to steal that thunder.
No,
because they're our guests.
Right. But just talking about what's happened and then really why we're having them on is a lot's happened over the last year. We've had the pandemic. And then we've also had a lot of changes in laws coming on, the Secure Act, the CARES Act. So, if it's been a year or more since you've had your plan reviewed, you're probably going to really want to listen to these folks because they're going to give us some really great information on that. Other than that, I think that's really it that's going on for us, right? So why don't we introduce our guests?
Yep. So Page Insurance, Matt Maniscalco and Taylor Smith are going to be our guests. And Page has been around for over 50 years. And they've been providing basically A-rated services. And the key thing is they're independent agents. So they're not just tied into one spot. And I'm pushing my leg going, stop reading the bloody thing, but I don't have it memorized, so I'm reading it.
Well, here's the cool part. They're in DeLand.
Yes, they are in DeLand and very strong in the community.
Yeah, they've been there. When did they start the business?
I think 1965, but Matt will tell us all of
that. Oh, yeah, he will. That's right. Yeah.
But, they're here. They're full service. They're here for your retirement needs, help you with any insurance needs that you have. And outside of the fact, they're just phenomenal.
They're amazing.
A group of folks. They have our mindset and work ethic. They're really client centric. So love working with them.
Yeah.
Our office happens to be in their building, and it's just been a blessing.
Yeah.
So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and
welcome.
Hello.
It's good seeing you guys.
Yeah, great seeing you. All right, so tell us about Page.
Yeah, tell us, how'd you guys get started and a little bit about the history.
Absolutely. So thank you for having us. I'm Matt Maniscalco. I'm the president here at Page Insurance Agency. Of course, here with Director of Financial Services, Taylor Smith. So it's been a whirlwind. Okay, the last couple of years, insurance is changing, the world is changing, and then the pandemic did not help, of course. So you said a lot's changing, and that's why we're here. Our agency was founded in 1965. Much like Hector has told us already. So founded in 1965, and I'm actually the second generation owner of the agency. And I say that, but it's my wife's family that was running this place for years and years prior. My mother-in-law saw an opportunity for myself, and it gave me an opportunity to leave the corporate world. I was in banking. I was in management and banking for 8+ years. Wonderful experience, but this is home. Small business is something that is just a true blessing to myself and my family. And it gave me the opportunity to bring that financial world to insurance. And that's the opportunity I saw. I saw small business and I saw room to grow. And so I put together a team of individuals that I trusted, that I would sit in front of my own mother when they're handling their funds, their insurance, and just protecting in general. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what brought us to Taylor Smith.
Nice. Great.
Taylor Smith, a little unknown fact about Matt and I is we were actually next door neighbors growing up. So we lived right next to each other, literally since I was born, and
like this close.
Yeah, like. So we lived next to each other for until I was 18 and moved away for college. And Matt and I were always very close, and my brother and sister as well. So we never thought that we would be in this position, running an agency together, and how the Lord has blessed us in that way is absolutely amazing. Just like He's brought Hector and Irene to us, and given us the ability to provide a disciplinary approach. So when we're looking at different plans and retirement for people, we like to join that with other individuals such as Irene and Hector, and have attorneys as well as accountants help out with us. So my background is I came from born and raised here in DeLand Middle, Orange City Elementary, DeLand High, Mitch Moyer days. So hey, Mitch Moyer, if you're watching out there. And graduated from Daytona State. So for us, I came from the property management and real estate world, in which living down in South Florida for a couple of years, we had purchased 5,000 houses down there. So you start to understand that market and kind of how it impacts the rest of the world. And that's big, because today's market right now in real estate is a big topic, and what the future holds for that portion. And then switched over to the corporate insurance world. Worked for Liberty Mutual for 3 years, and Matt kept putting the bug in my ear that he had an opportunity for me here. And thankfully, I listened and came on board, and haven't looked back since. So Matt and I both raise our families here in town. We're very blessed to have that opportunity to not only serve the community, but to be able to bring our kids up in this incredible world we call DeLand. So we're very cool.
So I love that you guys are so local, right? I love that. It's born, bred, stayed, and really enriching the community with what you guys do. Would you mind just quickly letting us know briefly, really, what is the scope of your services? What do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are an independent agency, which gives us the opportunity to, like Hector said, not be tied down to one company. So we are able to put your numbers in front of, honestly, hundreds of different carriers to make sure that the best plan is for you. We have an personal lines department. A personal lines department will handle your home, your auto. We do pet insurance. We do so much other beyond that on the personal line side. We also have a commercial line, small business insurance. So they're taking care of everybody from the handyman that just needs a small policy to large groups, large companies here in town as well. And then we started the financial side. So we focus on our side for everything from Medicare to life insurance to fixed index annuities, so many vehicles to make sure that your retirement is in good hands. And I mean, you've worked your whole life for it. You don't want to put it at risk. So that's really what Taylor specializes in specifically.
So you guys, that makes me think of something though. Do you mind just taking like 30 seconds or whatever and really explaining to the audience what is a fiduciary, and are you guys a fiduciary?
Yeah. So a fiduciary is essentially somebody that takes your best interest at heart on the financial side, right? So they want to, every move that they make is in your best interest. So you'll find a lot of different classes of individuals out there on the financial side that operate in different ways, and it depends on the investments that they're looking at for you. So for us, we operate in the space where we're looking at your portfolio to find the best tax advantage options out there. And that world is ever changing, right? Different administrations mean new tax laws one way or another. And that's big for you guys and for us, because the more that we can help you save the hard-earned money that you've put into these accounts, and the more that you're able to pass along and create that generational wealth, is really what we're here to do, right? We're here to make DeLand a stronger community. And the more we're able to pass that money along from generation to generation, or to make it easier for you to utilize, it is really what we try to do. So we do a lot of income planning, a lot of strategies. We have a lot of clients that come to us that may have had another financial professional that tells them they're not ready to retire. And in getting a second look at that portfolio, they're ready, right? And the joy that it gives us to be able to tell somebody that it's time. Now you have the opportunity. You can work if you want to, but that day that your boss pushes you over the limit, you're ready. It's okay. We'll take care of you. That's really what we stand for, and that's how we work.
It's a good thing I don't have that problem.
Well, I was hoping he didn't tell the rest of the staff that. Hey, we'll take you over the edge.
That's good. So walk me through how you help individuals and families with post-retirement planning.
I mean, because you started to briefly talk about that. Yeah. Give us a little bit on detail on that.
Sure. So I'll bring up a brief case for you. So when you're looking at 401ks or 403bs or IRAs, right, you have different retirement accounts that are set up. Roth IRAs are really good in retirement because those will allow you to have tax-free withdrawals, so you can pull that money without having to pay taxes or show that as income, which affects you in different areas, right? So we look at what the best strategy is for you, and we look at what your tax bracket is for the upcoming year to determine, well, hey, how much money should we pull out? Should we maximize this? Well, what if I make this amount more? Will it jump you up another 10% in taxes? Does that make sense? Should we pull that? A lot of people think differently about life insurance, right? But that can be a really key strategy for you. Sometimes those policies can include long-term care that you're not aware of, right? Long-term care has changed so dramatically over the past decade. Most of the time, there were policies that you'd pay into, and you either use it or you lose it. So these individuals were putting thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars into policies, and if something happened, unfortunately, and you never used it, the money was gone. And that's not the way it works anymore. So oftentimes, you can set up a life insurance policy that gives you the ability to use long-term care if you need it. But if you don't, maybe you can pass that money along to your kids, or it can hold a cash value. So you get to a point where you say, hey, I have enough money for my children. I want to use this money. And you can pull the money out yourself and use it that way. So there's a lot of different strategies that you can set up. And maybe you pull a certain amount over to fund that policy, or maybe you do an entire rollover and you put the whole amount into a policy and it's paid up and you don't have to worry about it. So
okay, so you got me thinking. Yeah. Okay, what do you see as some of the barriers or some of the reasons why people don't start doing things like life insurance, like a long-term care insurance? Because, the two of us, when we're doing estate planning with clients, we'll see oftentimes they don't have life insurance, or they're really severely underinsured, or they haven't done long-term care planning. And so actually, I'd really kind of like to address that. What do you guys see as some of the roadblocks why folks don't come to you sooner?
So there's a few that really stand out. I can tell you, coming from the corporate world into this world has allowed me to see both ends of that. And the first thing that comes to my mind is that they were comfortable or uncomfortable with the change. So they're comfortable where they're at right now. They are not educated. And I only want to say not educated, but nobody has ever spoke to them about the options. A lot of people also are happy with simply having that life insurance plan attached to their current job. But what they don't think about is, God forbid they leave that job and they need to utilize that service, it's not there anymore. Or if you have a life-changing illness, or there are things that happen in life that will cause you to not be eligible for plans down the road. So it's so important to have something in place. So it's really the knowledge, the comfort, and really just knowing what options are in front of you.
So I agree with you guys 100%. This is what we see. Life insurance and estate planning, or even, insurance on your home, right? Insurance on your home or anything like that. Oftentimes, folks that they hear that it's so complex, they don't even know how to get started, right? They're not even sure how to get started. Well, what do you do? But then they don't tend to want to think about it until something happens.
Yes.
And that is not the time to be thinking about it.
Right.
When your house is on fire, that is not the time to think about insurance for your home. When your health has just taken a turn for the worse, that is not the time to think about health insurance. Same thing for long-term care insurance, which we highly recommend. I mean, we have that ourselves. We highly recommend it. But it's almost like that adulting 101, where you have to think about things that are not so pleasant to think about way before they happen, right?
Tough conversations. Absolutely.
They are tough conversations. So how do you help clients start to even get to that point where they're ready to talk about tough conversations?
Sure. So, I mean, that's a lot of what we do. A lot of our clients are 50 plus. So they're at that point where they're looking into retirement, or maybe they're already in retirement and they're reviewing the plan that they set up previously, maybe 5-10 years ago. We do our initial consultation is always free for our clients. We love to take that time with them and just introduce a little bit more about what we have to offer and understand where they're coming from and what they want out of retirement. At that point, we review kind of what that portfolio looks like, and we start to identify those gaps. And we bring that part up, right? Because that's when you really start talking about, well, what do you see your money doing, right? Do you see yourself using it? Do you see yourself providing it to your children or your grandchildren? Do you want to set up college plans? And what's the best way to do that? We work with clients from $100,000 portfolios all the way up to millions and millions of dollars. And that strategy looks different for every person, because every person has a different mindset in terms of what they want to do. So for us, that's just part of the conversation. We don't necessarily just focus on that side. We like to look at the joys of it. Most children, not all children nowadays, they want their parents to use their money in retirement. And if you use it wisely, you can do whatever you want in retirement for most clients and still have something to pass along to the children. And they don't expect that. So that's just a blessing that they're able to receive it. But why not maximize it, right? The more you're able to provide for your children is another leg up that they have in order to make sure that their tuition's paid for, or their wedding's paid for, their first house is paid for. And how awesome is that to be able to give that to those children? But you're right, people get comfortable. And, we present some ideas that are not mainstream, right? There have been a lot of changes. So when people hear it for the first time, it's confusing, or, they haven't heard a million people talk about it, so they don't feel necessarily comfortable. But we're very good at educating our clients and helping them through that process so that they can find the facts and find the thought process behind what we do. And Matt and I are ever training and learning. We're traveling to different locations, and we network with individuals all around the United States to help understand what financial vehicles are the best for our clients and what will maximize their wealth the most. So to answer the question specifically, we have the tough conversations, but we include it with the benefits of what we can provide too.
And
Awesome.
It sounds like you guys, it's, from what I'm hearing you say, you're not too young and you're not too old to be able to work with you guys.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, Taylor said this earlier, but I really want to hone in on the fact that we take that multidisciplinary approach. We feel that no one individual can tell you everything you need to know about retirement. So we are the professionals on this side. We need those professionals like your group, like the accountants. We have to have a group of individuals working together, because if your people are not on the same team and they don't know what you're doing when you're going from meeting to meeting, things can get real messy. And it's so important for everybody to stay on the same team. And that's what Taylor and I do. And that's the reason why, honestly, we love you guys so much.
Well, hey, ditto, right back at you guys, because you know, when we've got a client that it really makes sense for them to do a trust, whether it's a revocable living trust or it's an asset protection trust, or, you know, maybe it's elder law planning trust. When we know they've got a financial planner and a financial planner like you guys, it makes the whole process so much smoother. I mean, and what do I mean by that? Well, I mean by, you don't just set up the legal documents. Setting up the legal documents is not enough. You need to retitle assets, and retitling the assets into the name of your trust. When you've got a financial planner, yo, it's just like butter. It is butter, 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 butter. It is so nice. Yeah. So last thing, just to finish up with you guys, because we've been having an amazing conversation here. How you guys are really into education, just like us. You have an event coming up with Hector. What are you guys going to be talking about? Don't give all the goodies away, but what are you going to be talking about?
So some of the changes in legislation have obviously adjusted what. There are a couple bills that are currently being worked on. The biggest one would be the Secure Act 2.0. So everybody knows the Secure Act was passed back in 2019, took effect January 1st of 2020, which affected some RMDs, which are required minimum distributions. They affected 401ks. Some of the, I won't dive too deep into it, but I'm going to give you a little tidbit. They are currently working on passing the Secure Act 2.0 would include a piece for education, where you're actually able to pay off some of those student loans while your employer matches your 401k. So they're putting in money that you're paying towards your debt. They are matching and still putting in your retirement plan. So there's a couple other really cool pieces about it, but we'll get into that on the seminar.
Oh, that is exciting. All right, we had a question come up that I think is really, really important. Yes. And this is for younger families, look, I remember when we had two teenagers, okay? You're just like trying to make it through until those kiddos are 18, right? Because they eat a ton of food. Andrew and Daniel ate a ton of food. But anyway.
Ahead of us still.
Yeah, so you guys, you know what that can be like for parents. And we just had an awesome, one of our folks put a question in. And really the gist of her question, and Lori, thank you so much for this. She's asking, like, you know, how do you get started when you really don't have that nest egg built up yet, right? You're just working to make ends meet. And you're hearing Irene and Hector and Matt and Taylor yak on about how you can make these things happen. Well, how do you do that when you're not at the stage yet where you have a nest egg built up for you guys to even work with? Good question.
Absolutely. The beautiful thing about what we do is our consultations are free. So we're always going to sit with you and be able to look at what you do have. So some people feel like they're in a worse position than they actually are. Some people feel like they're in a better position than they actually are. But it's so important to have a clear picture of exactly where you're at. Now, Taylor was saying we work with mostly 50 and over, but being the fact that we are that generation that's building our selves up as we go as well, it's all unique, no matter what age you are. So to answer that question very simply, it doesn't matter if you have $1 or you have $1 million. We help you put a plan together to make sure that you're safe. You need to be able to protect whatever it is that you've earned. And that's the bottom line. I don't care if it's $1 or it's $1 million.
It's called
Awesome.
just getting started.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Getting started. And I think, when we were talking earlier about what are some of the barriers, why a lot of folks don't take this step, right? Why they don't take the step to even get started is because they feel like they have nothing. How can I even figure this out? So yeah, I love that you guys are there. For us too, it's the same thing with us as estate planners. We often get the barriers. We can't afford it. How do we do if we can't afford it? Well, we're going to walk you through. If you really, if there's certain things you need that don't require an attorney, yay, we're going to let you know. We're going to help you get there. So I think it's just being brave enough, Lori, to go, I know I want things to look different in the future, and they don't have to look different right now, but just now is making the decision to go, I want it to look different in the future. How do I even start down that path? Let me get educated by somebody who's really good. And we can vouch for Matt and Taylor. They are good.
Yep.
So I know Wynn's going to have in the comment links, she probably already has in there, Wynn's our producer. She's amazing. She'll already have Matt and Taylor's information in there if you want to reach out to these guys. But really, they're, don't be embarrassed. I think that's one of the things we hear all the time, right? Like, I'm embarrassed. I should be farther along than I am. No, you shouldn't. You're exactly where you're supposed to be.
All right. So I think with that.
This was great, you
really
guys.
good.
You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Absolutely just love working with Matt and Taylor and Page Insurance. They're just a phenomenal group of people.
So reach out to them, y'all. Get started and just get started. Just have a conversation with them. You'll really be glad that you did. And I think it gives you peace of mind. So Matt and Taylor, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Bye.
I adore those two.
Yeah,
one, because
just genuine, and they've got a heart for helping.
Yeah, they're real people, and they are walking the same path that everybody else is walking, So I think they're very relatable. I really like working with them. We are going to be doing our Wine and Wills will be on Monday. That'll be at 6:30. Wynn will have already all of that information in the comment box, but you'll come and get to see our office space in DeLand. By the way, we will have had our second COVID shot is coming up right away. Woo, woo! So once we do that, once we've had our second shot, we're actually going to be ready to start seeing clients in person again if they want. We're obviously going to stay seeing clients virtually because a lot of our clients love the convenience of virtual. But we do have some clients that want to have that in person. And so that's why we're all set up at the DeLand office to do that. That once we get that second shot, that's May 3rd, right?
May 3rd.
May 3rd. We'll be ready to see you guys in the office if that's what you choose. But if you come on Monday, you'll get to see our new space. So that's pretty exciting with them. And then Wednesday, I think is going to be really good as well because Matt and Taylor and Hector, you guys are going to really be talking about what are the changes that have happened in the law in 2020. What's everything that's coming up? Lots is coming up, you guys, with proposed changes in the law. So they're going to walk you through that. I think it's pretty exciting. Really, the target for that one on Wednesday is 55 and up. If you're 55 and up, that is something to definitely look at.
And those that have a plan may want to come to see if what they do have will still work. Absolutely, because there's been so many changes in the law that you really do need to take a review of this. Significant changes.
Monday's event, the Wine and Wills, that's really directed towards families, young families, and older couples, because what we're talking about is the basics. What is an estate plan? When do you need a will? when might you need a trust? When do you need to look at maybe putting in place documents for your children if you have minors at home? What does all of that look like? So it's really educational on that one, and then wine tasting.
Yep.
And then apparently we're in the running for best of law firms in, I guess it's Volusia County. I don't really even know, but apparently we are. When we'll have the link in the chat box, if you wouldn't mind voting. The voting ends April 30th, so there's just a little bit of time left. We're almost at the end of April. And with that, I think we're going to say adios. Have an amazing weekend, and
Go Cubs.
go Tom Brady. Yes.